It was a beautiful, calm summer's evening, and I was working late one night in the secure courtyard of my small printing business. The first I am aware of him, he has a hand around my throat and a screwdriver to my neck. I scream, he stabs, I scream, he stabs, I scream. He tightens his grip around my throat. I feel myself blacking out. I fight back. I lunge, I plunge, I hit, I kick, he stabs, I scream. I lunge, I plunge, I hit, I kick, he stabs, I scream. He hits me in the mouth with a screwdriver. A tooth flies through the air. It must be mine. I lunge, I plunge, I hit, I kick, he stabs, I scream. We fall to the ground. He hits my head against the wall. I fight. He stabs me in the ear. Blood gushes out. I scream. I can't hear the scream. He stabs me in the throat. Blood gushes down my face and neck. He stabs me again and again. I hit him in the face with my fist. He grabs a glass from the table and smashes it. He comes at me with a jagged edge to my chest, tearing my t-shirt, grazing my stomach, forcing it into my stomach. Gushing blood, flowing flood. I beg him. I plead with him. He lunges. He's going to cut me. I'm going to die. I do not want to die. I stop fighting. He grabs strapping and wraps it around my neck. He pushes me into the corner. Hi, I am Lois Wagner from Walking Without Skin and Coaching Conversations for Change. So how do you move from such a dark place, such a painful place, a place filled with fear and mental anguish and stress? How do you become empowered and find the light? How do you take back your power? There are literally hundreds of therapies and healing modalities to help you survive and to thrive. And you will find the right one that works for you. No one size fits all. Not only was I raped and left for dead, I was born with a hole in my heart and a heart murmur. I had to live a sedentary childhood. I was betrayed by a business partner and I lost everything. I had 2 failed back operations that left me bedridden for 6 months. And I was forced into retirement when I was not ready. I had many other challenges too. So how did I get to where I am today? Helping other people to build their resilience and grit, to overcome their trauma and anxiety and stress, to move from victim to survivor to thriver and beyond to freedom. Well, the first step is acceptance, to accept whatever it is that happened to you, to accept that situation, and most importantly, to accept whatever emotions and feelings go with that situation. There's nothing wrong with the anger or the hatred or whatever feeling that is associated. Accept it. It is normal. Don't stay there too long, though. What I did then was I changed my dialogue. I reframed, I refocused, and I redirected my energies. Cognitive restructuring is the reframing, and reframing is a psychological technique that allows you to actively reprogram your brain to change your beliefs and to create real physical changes in the brain and in the body. As a child, I refused to be sick, and against all doctors' orders and advice, I played certain sports for short periods of time. But I had to also find new hobbies and interests. One was writing. I didn't know then that that was a therapeutic therapy. After I lost my business, I went back into corporate while I reorganized my life before starting out on my own again. And after I was raped, I became mobilized. I took action, and taking action is probably the best step you can take. I became an activist with the desire to change the world. It happened at a time when South Africa was going through its change from apartheid to democracy. And we were all allowed to put submissions in for the new constitution. Well, I wanted to change the law. I wanted to change so much about what was happening. So I became this activist, led marches through the streets. I had petitions going. I lobbied ministers and police commissioners and judges. I wanted to change the law and stop sexual abuse. This empowered me. I also wrote. Writing is so therapeutic. For me, I started from the very first day. I started writing a journal. And I kept this journal going for 14 years. It's always meant to be in a book, but it's still sitting on the desk waiting to become that book. It is such an important thing to write. You can keep a thought record, and what a thought record is, it's a way where you can capture the situation and the associated thoughts, feelings, and behaviors, and find the interrelationship and the understanding and the interactions between all of those things, so that you can redirect your energies into a more positive place. But for me, the most important thing that I did was to forgive. I forgave my business partner. I forgave the doctors for their advice. I forgave my parents for allowing me to be born with a heart murmur. And I forgave the rapist. I'd left the country. I was working outside the country, and it was my first holiday home. And I contacted the prison authorities. The rapist had been given a 25-year sentence. And I discovered that he was up for parole the day after I arrived in the country. Too much of a coincidence, especially since the law had just been changed, allowing victims of serious crime to attend parole hearings. And I was the first person in South Africa to attend one of these parole hearings. I went into that prison and I looked the rapist in his eyes and I forgave him. What is forgiveness? Forgiveness is not condoning what the person has done. It's not saying that they don't need to be judged or to get their punishment. What forgiveness is, it's breaking that bond, that tie that is holding you to them or holding you to that situation. It breaks that tie and allows you to move on with your life. The authorities told me that they would let me know within 7 days if the rapist got parole or not. And I looked at them and I said, you won't tell me. I do not need to know what happens to him. He is no longer connected to me in any way. I did not walk out of that prison. I flew out of that prison. And that is what forgiveness does. It enables you to find true freedom. And so I became fully empowered, totally free. And you can too, by learning how to forgive. I can help you learn how to forgive. I can help you find the resilience and the grit to move forward from that state of victim to that place of freedom. Thank you for listening.